Population ecology. Population may be defined as a group of members of a particular species living in a particular habitat perpetuated year after year through reproduction and recruitment. Example: Katla of Podda River is a population. The synonym of population is populatin, derived from Latin word populus, meaning people. Characteristic of a population or population group properties. Population has various characteristics. Some of these characteristics are density, natality, মানে birth rate, mortality, biotic potential, as distribution, growth form, dispersion, isolation, and territoriality. Dispersal. Density is the population size in relation to unit space. Population is Density is the population size in relation to unit space. It may be expressed as the number of individual or population biomass per unit area of volume. 200 trees per acre, 5 million diatom per cubic meter of water, 200 pound of fish per acre of water surface. Type of density. There are two type of density. These are crude density, ecological specific density. Crude density, it is the number of organism or biomass in per unit area of total space. Example: if the volume or area of a whole pond with pond side of 100 মিটার কিউব 1000 ফিশ যদি থাকে তাহলে ক্রুড ডেন্সিটি হবে 1000 ফিশের সংখ্যা ডিভাইডেড বাই যতটা জায়গা আছে। তাহলে প্রতি মিটার কিউবে মানে 1 মিটারে 10টা করে মাছ আছে। ইকোলজিক্যাল অর স্পেসিফিক ডেন্সিটি, ইট ইজ দ্য নাম্বার অফ অর্গানিজম অর বায়োমাস ইন per unit area of actual habitable space, available area or volume that can actually be colonized by population. If the volume of or the area of a pond with pond side is 100 meter cube and the area of pond side is 200 meter cube, and then the habitat space is 100 minus 20 meter cube 80 মিটার কিউব অ্যান্ড 800 ফিশেস আর প্রেজেন্ট ইন দ্য এরিয়া, দেন ইকোলজিক্যাল ডেন্সিটি হবে 800 ডিভাইডেড বাই 80 সমান 10টা মাছ পার মিটার কিউবে। Natality is the inherent ability of a population to increase in a given period. Natality is the inherent ability of a population to increase in a given period. It is the equivalent to the birth rate. Therefore, natality is the production of new individual of any organism. It occurs by born, hatch, germination, or by division. Natality is in term of birth rate, the birth at which new individuals are added to given population through birth. For example, new calves in the herd. Type of natality, there are two type of natality. These are maximum natality, ecological or realized natality. Maximum natality, it is the theoretical maximum production of new individual under ideal condition. Limiting factor, reproduction. Ecological limiting factor, reproduction, and been limited only by the physiological factor. It is constant for a given population. If 1000 eggs are released by a fish and if all eggs are hatched under ideal environment condition, then it is called maximum natality. Ecological or realized natality, it refers to population increase under actual or specific environmental condition. It is not constant and varies with size and composition of population with physical environment condition. If 100 eggs are released by a fish and if 800 egg are hatched under actual environmental condition, then it is called ecological or realized mortality. It refers to number of death in a given time or place in a population. In other words, it may be expressed as number of individual dying in given period. For example, if there is a population of 100 rui in a pond, after 2 years 20 die and mortality is 20 per 2 years, or 10 rui per year. Type of mortality: there are two type of mortality: ecological mortality, minimum mortality. Ecological or realized mortality, it refers to the loss of individual under actual ecological or specific environmental condition. It varies with population and environmental condition. Minimum mortality, it is the theoretical minimum mortality under ideal or non-limiting condition. It is constant for a given population. Here individual would die under best condition due to old age. Biotic potential, it is the maximum reproductive power of an organism under optimal environmental condition. It is generally only reached when environmental conditions are very favorable. It is fundamental species characteristic defined by Chapman, the inherent power of organism to reproduce and survive. As distribution may be defined as proportion of young, middle age and old individual in a population. It is important population characteristic when influencers both natality and mortality. Mortality varies with age and reproduction is quite often restricted to certain age group, the middle age group in the higher animal and plant. Therefore, the ratio of the various age group in a population determine the current reproductive status of the population and indicate when may be expected population in future. Usually, a rapidly expanding population will contain a large proportion of young individual. A stationary population, a more even distribution of S classes, and a declining population, a more proportion of old individual. Once a stable as distribution is achieved, unusual increase in natality or mortality result in temporary changes with spontaneous return to stable situation. Bodenheimer divided the age distribution into three groups: pre-reproductive, reproductive, post-reproductive age. The relative duration of this age in proportion to lifespan varies greatly with different organization. Different type of age pyramid are given below. Expanding, stable, decline. What will you predict about population from the ratio of its different age group? From the ratio of populations different as group, we can predict about population. Population as distribution is an important characteristic which influence both natality and mortality. Consequently, the ratio of different various as group in a population, we can predict the current reproductive status of the population and we may expected in and what we may expected in future. Usually a rapidly expanding population will contain a large proportion of young individual, a stationary population, a more even distribution of S classes, and a declining population, a more proportion of old individual. Growth form. Definition: population have characteristic pattern of increase which are called population growth form. Population growth curve is a curve showing the number of individual in a population over the time. Population growth curve is something that shows the pattern of growth of a population over time.